Remember the feeling of satisfaction you got when finally finishing a game that you spent months playing because you either enjoyed or found extremely challenging? The excitement from getting to see how the adventure finally ends and even seeing one last twist that made you want to go back and re-experience it all because you realized everything wasn't as simple as it seemed. That is the same feeling many fans got after completing their first adventure in any Metroid game, assuming they were able to finish it quick enough. Now, I don't need to sit down and explain what I'm talking about, since pretty much everybody in the internet has talked about it at some point, and the game's original surprise has been forever spoiled for the generations to come. But that is something that would logically come with the advent of the internet. Instead, I wanted to touch on something not everybody has thought about in the past, the logic behind the design of the Zero Suit. While there's not much information known behind the development of the new look for Samus, we can deduce a lot of the decisions behind the creation of the new outfit by analyzing the character's past appearances and the suit's purpose within the Metroid games. As I mentioned in the previous video, before 2004, Samus had a different look in every Metroid game, until Metroid Zero Mission introduced the new outfit and later was shown in Metroid Prime 2. But the common theme in the previous games seemed to have Samus in clothes that didn't restrict much of her movement, like a bikini in Super Metroid, short shorts in Metroid Fusion, and a leotard in the original game. So it makes sense that maybe the next step was to give her the jumpsuit she's wearing today. There's not much space within the Varia suit for Samus to wear any clothing, and considering all the acrobatics she performs in her missions, she can't really wear something else. But I feel that the suit's original intent was to also be as opposite to her more commonly known armor version as possible, so it'd be easier to tell them apart. For one, the Zero suit was most likely made blue since it's the complementary color of orange, the main color associated with the Varia suit, alongside with yellow and red. Blue is also considered to be the most rare color in a natural world, so making the suit this color could emphasize that while though Samus looks human, she's an alien to our world. And that idea was further cemented with the 3 distinct markings found on it, that perhaps were markings used by the Choso that reflect the roots of Samus's past. The other obvious difference comes from looking at the silhouettes of both suits. The Varia suit is much more bulky and robotic compared to the slim and human look of the Zero suit, which might have also been an intended design choice. If you remember back to when we first saw the Zero suit, after destroying Mother Brain and crash landing on planet Sebes, Samus was at a moment of weakness. She felt scared and somewhat defenseless, and even wondered if she could make past the pirates alive. The design was to show a more vulnerable side of the character, something definitely difficult to achieve when she's wearing her all-powerful Varia suit. This also helps emphasize the more obvious design choice of making Samus more attractive while outside the armor. The Zero suit doesn't leave much to the imagination, but it does cover pretty much all of her body except for her head, obviously. On a side note, this could also perhaps accentuate the idea of the Zero suit being like Samus' second skin, the skin of her Choso self, as it's connected to her armor as seen in Other M. While the suit sparked some controversy recently, as opposed to back when it was first introduced, some people tend to forget that since the beginning, this human side of Samus, if you may, was intended to be attractive. And there's nothing bad with that. This was a way for Nintendo to have their lead female protagonist still be attractive, while keeping her more toned down for the company's more family-oriented imagery. It's definitely better than what she used to be wearing in the past for those who are still complaining. But even without her armor, the games made sure that Samus isn't completely defenseless. As opposed to relying on the brute strength of her weapons, she's now more agile, deciding to fight defensively rather than offensively. Another topic touched on the previous video is that the name of Zero Suit Samus came to be with the character's inclusion in Smash Bros. And since then it has grown in popularity and is probably the reason everybody knows the major secret of the original game. Smash also gave the Zero Suit 2 new pieces of equipment that so far haven't made an appearance in an actual game. Brawl gave the Hunter the ability of turning her Paralyzer into a whip, while the newest Smash game gave her a pair of jet boots. On a personal note, while the idea of the extra arsenal doesn't bother me, it's simply the design of them that bugs me, since they look out of place for a Metroid game. But now the question begs, why even bother establishing a new look for Samus when we mostly see her inside of her power suit through the entire series? We only really get a glimpse of her face after finishing a game fast enough, as we stated previously. Well, for me, the logic comes from the same reason I didn't explain its impact in gaming culture to begin with. It's no longer a surprise thanks to the internet. Perhaps Nintendo saw how the rise of the web meant more people were able to connect across the globe and ultimately be able to post pictures and even videos to share with other people. And seeing how originally the only way of knowing Samus's identity at the beginning was through word of mouth, now the world will know the secret. Samus's popularity has only kept growing with the years, even today when Metroid games are rather scarce. And to me, the inclusion of the new look has to make her more approachable and identifiable out of her armor. So instead of forcing a way to keep the woman's side a secret, they probably thought it would be best to embrace the idea, and that it was time it had a distinctive look that people could identify her with. And I honestly think it paid off. The Zero Suit has become almost as iconic to Samus as her signature armor. It has shown us that a simple human with lots of training and dedication can achieve anything, and more importantly, it gave the galaxy's greatest hunter a human face that we can all relate to.